Radio. 88.1 FM, 89.5, 89.1, 103.1, 103.5, 104.1, and 104.7 FM. Listen and view on DBS Radio Facebook Live and on YouTube. Give us 90 minutes and we will strengthen the connection between Dominicans residing in the lovely Nature Isle and Dominicans residing abroad. National broadcaster DBS continues its quest to highlight and celebrate the achievements of Dominicans. We will discuss the highs and lows, the challenges and successes. Give us 90 minutes and we will solidify the connections we share with Dominicans all over. Anu celebrate achievement Dominican to latte. Connecting the dots. Tune in this Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Come join us as we weave a tapestry and strengthen our connections. Asu Radio DBS.
Heavenly Father, creator of mankind and the universe, we thank Thee for the gift of life today and all the blessings You continue to bestow on Your children.
We seek Your presence and intervention throughout this program, and we ask that You keep us connected always.
We also pray for the success of the program, its coordinators and listeners, that they may find purpose and enjoy what we share.
Bless our radio station and the nation, and may we grow to love and unite with each other, irrespective of our differences.
All this we ask in Your name, now and forever. Amen.
Anu celebrate achievement Dominican to all at NIgel. What's happening?
Hey, I'm there. I'm here.
You know, sometimes the delay system for me, it really doesn't work well because I'm so accustomed to being in the studio. So I don't even know when to start, Nigel. But it's nice to be on. I see you looking nice and dandy, waterfalls, everything working.
I try
something happening, Papa.
I try anything. You know what? Let me try and go to the waterfalls this morning, you know, go up by Trafalgar, see what's up and see if I can get some inspiration.
Yeah, well, that's nice. That's good. So on this lovely day, let's just welcome everybody, the City family, wherever you are this time, you know, welcome to the City House. Our house is your house. How do you say that in Spanish, Nigel?
Papa in Spanish.
I don't think it's mi casa, su casa. I think that is my house. That is my house, is your house, but our house.
Our house.
How do you say our house again?
Our in Spanish.
I can't even remember myself.
No, not todos. No.
Anyway, let's leave us alone.
Something. Yes.
Kainu say Kainu. So we're going in Creole. That's what
we can't go wrong with that one. We can't go wrong with that one. Definitely so.
But Nigel, it's a lovely day. We missed last week, of course. The burial,
yes, for good cause
of you know, Kadal Slipso icon Petra Williams. So I'm happy that we carried this live. DBS Radio carried this live on both radio and on social media. It was really a good send off. So, you know, and hats off to all those who took part in this. And even prior to the actual burial itself, you know, what happened, the tributes and all of that, the days before. So, you know, let's back bravo to all of these people.
Oh yes, it was wonderful in terms of, you know, I mean, the gathering of all the various artists and the supporters and those who've enjoyed Fitzroy's music over the years. It was nice to, you know, see them being there to celebrate his passage into the next one, you know. So all the different activities were good, and then of course the actual funeral and everything went well. So that's great. You know, so definitely.
And fine weather it was as well. So yeah, that was good.
Yes.
It's also fine weather today. It's like a kite flying kind of weather, NIgel, for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day around that time, you know, around the Easter time,
right?
You have fine weather and you'd see the kites high up in the sky, and I just feel, you know, that today.
Are we still flying kites? Do we still have that going on?
Nah, I mean, no, not really. I mean, probably one or two people will do something, but in terms of flying kites, I know kite flying was before. Nah, it's a while we haven't had that. Man. I know there was an effort some years ago. I think on the was it in Casablanca or somewhere? There was a playing field, and you know, and people were flying kites, you know, but nah, that was just the norm back in the day.
I remember those days, man. You would see, you know, you used to actually make your kite, you know, get flour to make the paste, you know.
Yes, and your cocoa stick and your bobine. This is a bobine before. You remember bobine?
Yeah, bobine.
It's not bobine. It's only after I learned the correct way to say it.
Oh, what's the correct?
But I mean, those were the days.
Saki correct, Willa.
I think it's bobine.
Okay, Papa.
Anyways,
that's the English.
But you know, that's
I know it's bobine. We used to say, yeah, they're Fred. Yes, you're bobine, you're Fred. And we would definitely fly our kites, man, all the different colors, and make sure you have all the different kinds of tails that you used to have, you know. And you out there, especially like in the Windsor Park area, for those who in the Roseau community, you go up Woodville, Savannah, and Lindo Park, and all the way else. And man. Kite used to make
in the gardens.
What is it called that again? When the kite used to make what is a cool tet?
Cool tet.
A cool tet. Yes. The dip.
Yeah. When a heavy wind take that.
A heavy wind take and just dip.
And we had to sit in the gardens. You had to sit, you know, and hold that thread and, you know, just like loosen it and let it go up and up and up and up and stay there, maybe sometimes for hours.
Yes.
You know, in the hot sun.
Yes, and sometimes some panels after it's very high, you would just tie that bobbing on the grass, you know. So you just tie it down there and just sit down there because your kite well up there. Nothing can happen. You can't come back down for now.
Yes. But it's a tradition that we have held for many, many, many years. And I would like to see it come back. You know,
love to see
I know some of these supermarkets, they have the kites. But you know, back in the day, we used to make our own kites. I mean, you know, we really had to make our own kites. You have to
make your own kite, man. You have to know how to make the boat, you know, bend the cocoa stick to make that, and you know, use the string to tie
and put your frills at the bottom.
Oh, put your frills at the bottom.
Colors and all that.
Of course. Yes.
So those were the days, man.
Those were the beautiful days.
I don't think our guest knows about this. He would have
maybe not. I don't think he know much about kite flying, you know. Yes, maybe something we can introduce him to.
Yeah, but I would like to see it come back.
Oh man, kite! Oh, that was to be a beautiful time.
Kite flying and marble hole. You know, remember marble hole and shoon and wow, those were the
remember days. The amount of guys who used to be flying kites. You know, I mean, in the park.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe his mom flew kites. I don't know. We'll probably find out about that later in a few when we talk.
That was a big thing. That was a big thing back in the day.
Vanessa, good morning. Early, I tell you good morning.
So NIgel, you can come on. Yeah.
Yes.
We bring him on early, NIgel.
Well, why not?
We don't fix early. We started a little late.
Hey,
we had to pray early, and that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And since you don't have a Dominican corner for me this morning, then we just had one kite fly.
Who said we have got Dominican corner? Of course, we have a Dominican corner.
Okay.
Whose turn it will be when it's time for the Dominican corner?
Your turn.
Right. Oh my goodness.
It's always your turn.
Yeah. But NIgel, let me just say quickly though, we have started DBS has started the annual reading competition, the DBS Radio Felix Henderson National Reading Competition.
Beautiful.
And the focus is on Calypso this year. Calypso, of course, she has a strong connection with literature, with storytelling, with social commentary and things like that. You know that all too well, cultural expression and identity, of music and people as well. So we decided to focus on this year, the annual reading competition, actually.
And that's a wonderful gesture, man. That's a great tribute to Felix, and then of course the Calypso. I mean, Calypso has been an integral part of our, of our culture, our development, and everything else. So it's good to see DBS is taking on that role and ensuring that, the Calypso vibes is not only during the carnival season, but that we can continue throughout. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to good stuff from the kids, from the reading competition, looking forward to them being able to share and to highlight, the different aspects and so on. And that's great stuff, man. Yes.
So probably one of those days the focus will be on acting, and that'll be good as well.
Yes. Oh yes.
That'll be good as well. You remember back in the day we had a lot of theatrical productions. We had a lot of groups, New Dimension Theater, People's Action Theater. Of course, that's your alley. That's right up your alley.
Yes. Those are beautiful days where you could have all the different presentations, different plays being done, and you had different groups. A number of folks actually went through the different groups, whether it was PAT or NDT or Queer and Expressions, which was earlier on. And, a number of folks went through those to express themselves and be able to be part of a creative process, something that our guest is very familiar with. And, so, I mean, definitely it would be nice to have that again. Hopefully, I mean, from all reports, the Iraq House of Culture seems to be on its way back. Hopefully, it'll be open soon. And we can have a space where we can do that again and get the young people involved, For some reason, I see you in a play, man. I see you acting in a play. I don't know why. I just see Ivona isn't going to be in a play. Yes, because,
you're going to be in a play?
Yes, I see you being.
I could have been, I remember back in the day I was shy, but I know I had talent.
I see you being in a play.
Okay, yes. So put me on the man.
The one that I'm writing now, I'm gonna find a space for you in there.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Because you would have written so many plays, NIgel. So the Dominican corner, name 5 groups, past or present, in theater in Dominica. I think I named some, you named some.
All right. Well, I'll leave the easier ones for you. We had a Queer in Expressions. We had New Dimensions Theater. People's Action Theater, of course.
Past or present, obviously.
Yes, we also had this group that was formed, La Coup
des Arts.
Yes.
YC Couple is part of it.
YC Couple is also part of that.
Because groups like that also play.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of schools as well would have taken part in the Schools Arts Festival.
Oh yes, definitely. Congratulations to them on that.
And some of the communities as well.
Even the sisterhood singers.
Right, of course. Yes.
There was the St. Alphonsus some group, and then back then in our days at SMA.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, at Dominican Grammar School too.
Yes,
we had a lot of this.
Young
and our guest mother, well, he tell us about that Dominican Grammar School because his mother was, passed
was part of that. School. Yes. So
but we had always the movement. There was a movement for cultural awareness.
Yes, MCD, Movement for Cultural, MCA. With people like Clement Baba Richards and Sobers Esprit and so on.
Albert Pan Mandela
was part of that as well as part of PAT, but Albert Pan Mandela. So, then you had
some of the communities too, NIgel,
have their own little groups going. Yes, the various
and churches as well had their own groups,
Oh yes. Portsmouth was vibrant with the Portsmouth. What they will call now? The name is slipping me by, but they had a pretty vibrant group there. In the Portsmouth community. Mariga Development Committee used to have a little theater arm to what they were doing, apart from the education thing. So, the different communities had their own vibes going, and that was good, man. I'm trying to see there are a few others. There's so many others, really, when you consider the communities that had groups that, did their own little productions. And the schools, like you mentioned, had their own thing as well. You know, so kudos to all of you guys, man. It's good to see that, we want to make sure we can continue that process, get the schools back involved again in the productions. Yes. So we are going to bring our guests in a few, but I know that there are a few people already logged on and want to say good morning. Oh, by the way, Alvin Thomas is back with. He had taken a break. I'm not sure for what, but he had taken a break, but he's back. So good morning to Alvin. We missed you for a few, but it's good to know that you are back.
Let me see. NIgel, I don't know what was happening there. I was
something happened there?
Yes, I was off. You didn't realize?
Well, I see you were off, but I say maybe, you just gone. But what's going on? Do we have...
Okay, it's all right. It's okay. I'm back on.
Yes.
Yeah. But today we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate the achievements of a young Dominican who he left Dominica early, obviously. But he has done so much and he continues to do so much. So NIgel, we really have to, to big him up, onto this program. Yeah.
Yes, I was just checking here because to me... Oh, okay. There was no audio. There was no audio for... Yes, we're back on now. There was no audio for a second. So I was, what's going on? But we're back on. We're back on. So we were saying good morning to Alvin Thomas, who's back. He had taken a short little hiatus. I don't know where he went to, but he's back now.
He banned us, man.
Yeah, he banned us. But I see he say good morning. I don't know. I don't know where he went to.
Is he banned us?
Apparently, but he's back. So good morning to him. Good morning to Diana Libla. It is Francis. Hey, is you there? Good morning to you. Wilbert Willis. Good morning, Sandra Norris. Good morning to you. Julie Gregoire, who is, I guess, in Canada as well. They say kids fly kites in Canada. So we'll probably ask our guest about that if he fly kite whilst he was there. Said good morning to Winnie Green as always. And all the others going on. Oh, the Spanish words from your house to your house is de nuestra casa a tu casa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Hamilton Joseph, for my Spanish classes this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's true. That's true.
De nuestra casa a tu casa. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking up myself.
It's not what I would not say. Mi casa es su casa.
Mind me, NIgel. Mind me.
Hey, remember you used to say that in St. Martin's School. Is this mind me or in Vix?
In Vix me. All right, put me down flat. Right. And I'll tell you about the galvanized underwear. All of that.
I think St. Martin's School took the honors for that too.
Of course, St. Martin's School was just it,
They were the best in when you had to say those things and the way they would carry when they say carry. Yes, the way they would carry when they saying it. St. Martin's School took really the kick for that, man.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, so NIgel, we're gonna bring on our guest. So we're done with the Dominica corner.
We are done.
We're gonna bring on our guest.
Yes.
By the way, we have had how many movies already on the program?
Oh man.
We've had Master D, we have had Michael, Miguel, Narin. And now we have been Dwain.
Yes. We've had quite a few Murphys. So yes. Which is beautiful.
That's something.
It's nice. It's nice to have that connection with them.
I remember back at school, at the Dominican Grammar School where I went. So we had Mrs. Murphy, the guidance and counseling teacher.
Yes.
What a darling. What a darling. What
Mrs.
a darling.
Murphy, man. Yes. Mrs.
Oh, my
Murphy.
goodness.
Oh, you felt so...
I can just remember her.
Comfortable with Mrs. Murphy and she was around.
Yes. Mrs. Murphy was just a darling, and guidance and counseling at school was a big thing. And I remember once as well, there was courtesy week, and Mrs. Murphy, I think she had to plan with students, obviously, for courtesy week, what Dominican Grammar School was doing. So we did a song on courtesy week, and anyway, that's a long story. We're gonna bring up Mr. Murphy, right? You have to start to sing this song for you from scratch.
About to say, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm like, okay, finally, Ivona's going to sing a song for us this morning.
No, I'm going to sing this song. But I can just remember, and we used to carry when we were doing that there's a part in the song that said, courtesy is for your own good. I can't remember the rest.
You can't remember.
But it ends like, why should you be rude? Courtesy is for your own good. Courtesy should begin at home. continue wherever you roam. So why should you be rude? Courtesy is for your own good. So try to be helpful and try to be true. Be kind to your neighbors. Something like that. Anyway.
Something like that. He'll be kind to you. All right.
Let's bring on our guest, Dan.
Yes, let's say good morning to Mr. Dwain Murphy, and he'll tell us all about himself and how he ended up being here on this program. And, we'll connect with him on what he's doing and all the rest of it. So, good morning to you, Dwain. How are you?
Morning, Nigel. Morning, Ivona. How are you guys? Morning.
Hi. Good morning.
We are doing well. We are doing well. It's a pleasure to have you connecting with us. This is a program that we do every Saturday, and we try to connect with Dominicans wherever they may reside. And we try to find out about their journey and to, let others know about their journey. So we appreciate you joining us this morning from cold Canada.
Yes. So you have to get up early as well. By the way, Nigel, let me just apologize. It's supposed to be Dwain. I think we had it wrong. Dwaine. So that is incorrect. So it's Dwain. That's how Dwain is spelled. Dwain Murphy. Yes. All right, so we just have to put this I have to say this.
No worries.
How cold is it right now?
Well, today is supposed to be a relatively warmer day. So as of right now, the temperature is 5 degrees and climbing.
And that is relatively warm.
There's no snow. It's warm because there's no snow on the ground. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
I always love when Canadians say it's going to be warm today, and then they tell me what the temperature is, and I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, there's no way I'm coming.
Listen, it's our version of warm. Trust me, I miss the sunshine. Wow. I miss DA all the time. So that's one. As long as I've been here, I've never gotten used to the cold, and I'm not a fan of it. So, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, right?
I know last year, though, you all had a wicked winter. Was it the same this year, or is it the same this year?
Yeah, I mean, last year was worse for sure. There was many snowstorms. This year was probably a bit on the easier side, I would say, for us. Less shoveling. There was a couple snowstorms, but overall, last year was worse. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. So we're going to find out about Dwain's journey, and of course his connection and everything else. We always like to take it from the beginning, Dwain. So for those who may not know and saying, who is this Dwain guy? First of all, if you can recall, what part of Dominica were you actually born?
I was born in Roseau. I'm from Bathurst State.
All right. So yeah, you get it. All right, Ivona. So he was born from that area. And of course,
look, somebody's asking me via WhatsApp. You said that his mother. Who is his mother in Dominica? So Nigel, let's just go there quickly.
Wait, Papa.
His mother is, for those who don't know.
Oh wow. I mean, my mother is Vanessa Dupy. Everybody knows her as Myrtle Dupy. So
there you go.
And my father is Albert Benoit. Everybody knows him as Mario.
Right. So you have all the connections now, all right?
Yes.
But yes. Dwain, did your mother tell you what school she went to? The secondary school. Let's go.
I know it's grammar school, but I can't remember the name of the school.
The Dominica Grammar School.
Yes.
The best school on the island, the best secondary school. Also in my days, when you were there around that time.
There was another school in Dominica doing the school at St. Mary's Academy, it's SMA.
Right. No, she didn't go there. She went to
she didn't go there, but I mean, she would have known about it's one of the other better schools.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I heard it sounds like there's a rival here.
I'll say nothing again, Papa.
I hear. Tell me all of her track stories and all of her. How she was in the grammar school record books for all kind of
field
things. So she loves to throw that in my face. And my father was a big basketball player for the Eagles back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember. There was an Eagles basketball team, and he was the point guard for that.
Yes, definitely. So one of the better ones too. He was pretty quick, man. Good ball handler.
Yes, and funny enough, I'm actually secretly developing I want to develop a script about that actually. I'm writing a story about. Yes. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's kind of something that's behind the scenes. It's not fully ready yet, but I think it'll be a great story about how Dominica kind of went to the other islands and played against them, and I want to create a story, a TV series around that concept. Yeah.
Nice. I love this, Nigel. I really love this. I know we have had actors in the past on the program, but I think it's the first time I'm hearing this, you know. And hats off to you, Dwain. I really wish you success in this endeavor.
Thank you. I think it's a beautiful story that's untold, and I want to be able to film it in DA and along with the other islands and kind of showcase our island along with the other islands, but mainly our island.
I look forward to that. Look forward to that. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. I look forward to that. Yes, yes. Well, as you mentioned in terms of your mom too as well, I mean, yes, I mean, Al was one of the top point guards there for the Eagles back in the day. Yes, yes, definitely so. And of course, Myrtle, Vanessa, some of us know her.
Vanessa, yeah.
Yes, come to the trap, you couldn't touch Vanessa, man. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure she don't run as much as she used to back then, but she was really, really good.
She told me the stories. She would tell me the stories.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's kind of unfortunate, Dwain, in the sense that back in those days, I guess we didn't have the technology that was able to capture those things. We never had it recorded. So all the different sports days and so on, that just went by. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Archiving a lot, yes. I mean, a lot of people go back to their albums and you see some pictures coming up on Facebook from back in the day, but we were not big on this, obviously. We didn't have the tools, for this. And maybe
it's a different time.
In terms of posterity and archiving, and putting things, for years to come. But it's all right. I'm happy that you want to tell a story that, involves Dominica and sports and all of that,
Absolutely.
We as a people, and things so. That's
absolutely.
Good. That's good.
All right. Wow, so the journey for Dwain,
I think we're gonna have a good.
We're gonna have a great, as always. As always, we have a great connection. So the journey for Dwain started in Dominica, and obviously, you then migrated to Canada very early, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So you didn't have much of a, if you want, childhood in Dominica. From the stories that you've heard about childhood.
What year you left Dominica?
I left when I was 4, so that would have been around 1989.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not much of that. But from the stories you've heard about childhood and stuff that the children do, is that something that you're probably saying, man, I kind of missed out on that from what I'm hearing? I would have loved to have been part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been back twice since I left. Once when I was 11, and then again when I was 23. But I mean, for me, it was like I missed because I have a lot of family there. I have a lot of cousins, I have aunts, I have uncles. My godfather Perry, who actually passed away last year.
Last year.
Yes. I was pretty close with him when I went down there when I was 11, and it really kind of opened my eyes because he worked for the phone lines, so he would go around connecting phone lines. And the day I spent with him was really a kind of eye-opening experience for me because it really showed me the beauty of my island. We got to drive around for the whole day, and we just talked about different things. And, he just kind of talked to me about growing up as a young man and being abroad and all these things. And he just always said, never forget where you come from, right? He's like, always remember the people that you're representing, the country that you're representing. So that day kind of really meant a lot to me because, I was 11 and I was kind of, just coming into a teenager and kind of finding my identity and those type of things. So that was a really eye-opening day, and it just made me realize that there was a lot of my culture that I didn't really get to connect to because I left so young. So like even speaking the language, you only learn the language. Well, for me at least, I only learned the language as my mom would cuss me out. She would say different things to me, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I know it's a bad word because of how you're using it to me. Right? So just the cultural aspect of things, of connecting to the language and the history of it, it was something I had to go back and kind of relearn because I left so early. So that's probably the biggest thing that I miss about not growing up in Dominica, is just having that culture embedded in me and kind of losing it from an early age and having to relearn it and re-engage with it. But I also found that it was an eye-opening process because it it helped me understand, my bloodline and where I come from and who is connected to me in Dominica and what those people mean to me. So like, for example, like my father's mother, she passed away a few years ago, but she's a direct descendant of a Carib. Right. So so then it made me understand, okay, now I understand why I look the way I look and why, certain people in my bloodline look the way they look. So for me, I'm like, okay, I get it. My father's mother's bloodline is the closest to the Carib side. So I started going down that avenue and realizing, oh, okay, well, this is a whole nother history of Dominica that, a lot of people are fighting for not to lose, and why they have their own territory and all these things. So again, eye-opening things that I was like, man, I really wish I was able to grow up in that, because I'm sure that there's family members on the Carib side down the line that I have yet to meet or never knew about. So things like that is what really kind of
I'm sure a lot of them are listening. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them are listening. The Kalinagos, they have the space. By the way, how long you stayed when you first came? When you came back at 11 years, how long? Days? A few days? Or?
I think I was there for about 2 weeks, if I believe. It was about 2 weeks. Yeah. Because it was in the summer. No, I lie. I'm sorry. It was a month, actually.
Wow,
it was
so that's long.
Yeah, because I was there because every summer my mom loved to send me to a different place to connect with different family members. And that summer she said, you're going back home to Dominica's because you haven't been back in a while. So I remember staying with my auntie Ria in Bath Estate. I hope she's listening. And my cousins Elsa and O'Malley and I was hanging with them for a month, and I just remember the heat was killing me. It was killing me. I had heat bumps all over the back of my knees.
Wow. Yeah.
My aunt was dumping powder on my chest, and she said, "Go take a cold shower. Go take a cold shower." And I wasn't used to cold showers. I was used to hot showers. So even that was an adjustment, But again, it was nice memories that I was building and bonding with people I hadn't seen in so long.
Oh, so a lot is etched in your memory from that first visit.
Yes. I
like this, NIgel.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we were talking a little earlier, Dwain, about Easter time and kite flying, and someone mentioned that there was kite flying in Canada. Is that something that you've taken part in, or you've seen, or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we don't build our own kites. You just kind of go to the store and you buy a little kite from the dollar store or something. But yeah, I have a son. I have a 6-year-old son. We went kite flying a couple summers ago, and just to kind of show him the experience of it. But it's not really as prevalent as it is back home here. It's more just a leisurely activity here. You kind of just go out on a windy day and you fly a kite. And actually, funny enough, if you see someone flying a kite here, it's kind of like an odd thing because you don't see it that much, right? It's not as prevalent.
I can
but
imagine.
Right?
And more than likely, if you see someone flying a kite, you can probably say, "Oh, that's a Caribbean person or something," right?
yeah, that person has Caribbean.
Or have some kind of Caribbean connection.
Absolutely, or some kind of someone of a minority is usually it's something that they're bringing from back home from their culture for sure.
Yeah. So you moved kind of pretty early. And I went to school, I guess, in terms of what we call back home Dominica, primary school. And what was that experience like for you? Because you were young going there, so you probably might not have. One of the things Ivona and I always talk about is the culture shock when you go to another country. But I guess going there that young, you might not have experienced much.
Yeah.
What was it like for you earlier years in school in Canada?
Well, so for me, again, this is off of what people have told me. When I first came up, apparently I had an accent. and apparently it was a thick accent. So I don't know, but apparently my mom was saying that I kind of got made fun of a lot of because of that, because people couldn't really understand what I was saying. So, I mean, obviously I grew out of that after all these years of being around Canadians and being more Americanized, so to speak. But from what I was told it was that, my first couple of years, people had a very hard time understanding what I was saying. And also because I was so young, I was still kind of forming my own language and how to speak and pronounce my words. And then mix in the accent on top of that at a young age, it was a bit of a learning curve where I kind of had to, you know, I guess change how I spoke and, you know, adapt to the new culture that was around me. So, I mean, I don't really remember that, but that's kind of what my mom and my parents said was like, you know, it was a rough first year or two because no one could understand what you were saying on the Canadian side. So there was a lot of laughing going back and forth with me and other kids.
But what was like how, you know, back home you'd have, so were you involved in like sports and other things? Early years we're talking about still in primary, what we call primary school, of course. Were you involved in sports then or other activities?
Yeah, I think I that's kind of how I was able to kind of break out of that difficult time, was bonding over sports. Again, you know, the history we just talked about. I come from an athletic family. My mother was track, my father was basketball. And those were always funny enough, those were always the sports that I accelerated at in elementary school, was track and field and basketball. So once I started playing that and I kind of had a natural athletic ability that was kind of, you know, honed as I got older through my dad and my mom, it was just that kind of was able to break me into different friendships with different people because they realized, oh, you know, he may be struggling with the language, but he can play or he can run, you know what I mean? So that kind of was what's bridging the gap of friendship for me with a lot of people. And because of that, I was able to make, you know, a lot of friends and a lot of lasting friendships. And then on top of that, a lot of people, you know, found me as the class clown type of thing, which is where I think the kind of the acting kind of bug kind of started happening. But again, I wasn't thinking about it as acting. I was just thinking about it as I just wanted to make people laugh and make friends and make everybody feel comfortable. But again, these were all seeds that were being planted for future moments such as now.
Yes, yes, definitely so, definitely so. So, and then of course, from the elementary school, you moved to middle school and, you know, high school and all the rest of it. Throughout that journey, that educational journey, did you find yourself having to experience any, apart from the accent, of course, being Black, did you find yourself having to experience any of that? Or was it just a natural progression? Everything was good because you've been into the system anyways?
Yeah, I think I don't really think that we had much problems in the racial area growing up in Canada because Canada is such a melting pot of different races and cultures that everyone, especially in the 90s, there was a huge influx of immigration with Caribbeans and because Canada or Toronto itself, where we live, has such a strong Caribbean culture that it wasn't that far off for us to fall into the other cultures that were here. So, you know, we were able to bond with Jamaicans and Trinis and Guyanese, and so our culture wasn't that, you know, a miss, so to speak, because there was already Caribbean culture here in Toronto. So that part was kind of easy to blend into. What it was about just understanding the cultural differences of, you know, certain jokes you can't make in certain environments because you know you're going to have a more predominantly Caucasian environment in that area, so they're not going to understand something if I come in and I say sakafet, you know, so something simple as that, they're not going to understand that. So it's like, again, just finding where your foothold is, where you can bond with different people over cultural differences. And a lot of that came through sports. A lot of that came through, you know, laughter. A lot of that came in high school when I started doing drama class, and getting into the acting world. And that's kind of where the transition happened. And then, you know, I had a bit of a, between elementary school and high school, in my last few years of elementary school before joining high school, my parents separated. So that was a bit of a difficult time for me because there was a lot of change family wise. And, you know, then it became a difficult, and I think that's kind of where my emotional experience came from, to pull from in the acting world, is going through that experience of kind of not losing my parents, but losing the connection that my parents had. And then having to kind of figuring out, okay, well, you know, where's my mom emotionally? Where's my dad emotionally? And then having to sort through my own emotions and figure those things out. So that was a bit of an eye-opening experience for me. And I think that's kind of what brought about my emotional state of, figuring out myself, and then that leading into acting and having things to pull from emotionally wise from those experiences with my family.
But apart from acting, though, what again piqued your interest? Were you involved in sports in, any shape or form, or any other, activity that really?
Funny enough, I actually wanted to do basketball. Like, basketball was my thing. I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. He would tell me all of his stories about all his Eagle days and playing against different islands and all these things. And I was like, oh, cool, I want to play basketball. So I was actually pursuing basketball quite heavy. And then I reached a point where I had an opportunity to go to a local college to play basketball for their team, or I had an opportunity to go down the road into the acting world and into the dramatic arts. And I kind of said, you know what? I kind of think I like the dramatic arts a little more. And I ended up shifting my attention towards the dramatic arts and started moving away from basketball. And I think that's because of my parents going through their separation and what that did to me emotionally. I think that kind of pushed me into the dramatic arts. I mean, you try to pinpoint the moment in your life where these shifts happen, but you really can't. It's kind of an emotional thing, and you make emotional decisions. But I think that's kind of where it happened, is where when my parents started separating, I kind of moved towards an area that made me feel emotionally safe. And I think that's what
the safe
dramatic
space.
arts did. Yeah.
Yeah. But prior to that, though, did you, because oftentimes they say you get bit by the actor by the bug, right? Prior to that, were you already doing some acting in elementary school? Were you doing like little plays and stuff like that?
Yeah, funny enough, I did a couple little plays in elementary school. I remember I played Peter Pan once, in a school play, and and I just remember, for some reason, I don't remember the actual play. What I remember is I had a memory of my mom bringing my Peter Pan outfit to the school. I don't remember why she had to bring it, but I just remember us getting dressed in the bathroom, and she kept mumbling things under her breath, and it was in patois, in Creole. And I could sense she wasn't happy, because either I forgot my costume or something. And anyways, long story short, she brought the costume for me. We're getting dressed in the bathroom. She's mumbling things in Creole under her breath. She wasn't happy about it. I think she had to leave work or something. Anyways, ended up doing the play. She watched the play. And I just remember after the play, she said something to me along the lines of, I'm very proud of you.
Wow.
She said, I don't know why you're into this acting thing and all these things, but I'm very proud of you. And it was just in that moment, I felt, very comfortable and safe.
Nice.
And there was a lot of love in that moment. So yeah, I remember that was one of the first probably acting performances I did, was a Peter Pan play back in elementary school.
Nice. I hope that was captured in the school, and you probably have some little footage somewhere or something.
I don't, but I do remember there's a picture. I don't know where it is now to this day, but there is a picture of me in my Peter Pan costume, in my little tights and thing.
So from there, Dwain, of course, you moved on to high school, and did you continue with the acting once you moved into high school? Or was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. But again, it wasn't something that I was taking serious. It was just kind of something that was, again, just for fun, an emotionally safe space, something that I just felt comfortable doing. And it made people laugh in whatever shape or form, or made people feel whatever emotions they felt. But again, it was nothing that I was considering serious. It was just something I was doing for fun. And then I think halfway through high school, I had a bit of a verbal altercation with one of my drama teachers. And I just remember her saying, you're actually a very good actor if you would stop being silly and actually took this seriously. And it kind of stuck with me. And I went home, and, for the next, I think, week or so, I kind of was like, well, what does she mean? What am I not taking seriously? I don't get it. Right. And again, it was like, you would kind of go through the motions. You would go to class, you would do your lines. And I don't remember where it was, but along the line, something just clicked. And I think it might have been, one of the scenes I had to perform in class. And it was about these two boys. They were fighting with each other. And and the dialogue was them basically saying how they felt about each other. And I don't know, maybe somewhere in that dialogue, it kind of resonated with me at the time where I was in my life, and maybe those words kind of felt personal, you know. So I think that kind of made me go down a road where I was like, maybe I do want to pursue this seriously. Maybe I do want to kind of look into this acting thing. And I think from there, I ended up Googling, you know, acting schools after high school, acting colleges. And then I found something that was close to home because it was cheap and it was easy and I didn't have to move out.
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of that's kind of where it ended up going seriously, was kind of midway through high school.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So during that time, of course, you had, I mean, in school, high school, you had, were there like drama classes that you had? Was it part of the curriculum, or was it something that you did in the afternoons? What was it like?
Yeah, it's part of the curriculum. You take drama class in high school. It's almost, you know, people take it because it's like gym class. It's easy, right? You know, it's an easy credit that you get, right? It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to fail drama or hard to fail gym because all you got to do, you know, 90% of it is just showing up. That's it, right? So a lot of people just take it for that aspect, and that's kind of what I did. I took it because I was like, hey, this is an easy class. It's like gym. I just got to show up. And you know, after that, it kind of started becoming something that I liked. And a big part of that too was I was an only child from my mother and father, from my mom's side at least, and I spent a lot of time alone watching different shows, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, Martin, you know, Family Matters, all those Americanized Black comedies. So a lot of that had a big influence, especially Fresh Prince had a big influence on me. So a lot of that was I wanted to emulate what I saw. Those characters on TV, I wanted to emulate that. And I brought a lot of that to drama class. And I think that's where my teacher was like, when I had the verbal altercation, she was like, you know, if you'd stop being silly and actually kind of did this for real, maybe you might get somewhere with it. And I think that's kind of what, again, all these little seeds
being
planted is kind of what sparked the interest of going down that road.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. So you can, I mean, and sometimes we don't, I guess, it's in looking back that we recognize that those seeds were being planted then. Maybe at that time you probably was like, Stitch always on my back or whatever.
Exactly.
That's
exactly what it was.
Yeah. Wow. NIgel, let's just check some of the comments on the book.
Oh yes, definitely.
Let's check some of the comments on the book. And by the way, the YouTube as well. Eh?
Yes.
I think some people are giving comments, NIgel.
Yes, they are. June Jeremiah says, listening from New York. Great stuff here. Brenda Albert, good morning from Antigua. Someone has mentioned there's a kite festival in Portsmouth this next Sunday, Easter.
That's good. Okay.
Yes. Casimiro from Oregon wants to say good morning to Dwain. And
morning.
Keep going with what you're doing. There's a Julie Gregoire that was telling us that their kite's being flown in Canada. And this person says, great young man. Want to hear more about his story? We'll hear more about his story just now.
Oh yes. We have a lot to talk about.
Of course, you know, Ty Francis. Myrtle was a great athlete and a sprint runner. Yes, she was, definitely so. And I'll go to the YouTube one a little bit as well for some of the comments coming through. Generally, just encouraging you, and even if you haven't started to tell us his journey yet in the acting world, but already the beginning of the video. Congratulations so far on what you've been doing.
Oh yes.
So yes. So when you're in high school, you do a little bit of drama, you starting to probably get, you know, a little more interested in it, probably acting might be what I might want to do. And you've given some points where you think it might have clicked. But is there like a specific time or a day, a moment, whether be it when you were on stage or off stage, that you said, you know what, I could really do this?
Yes, that's a great question. I love this question because what happened was in grade in Canada, they have this thing called a co-op program. And the co-op program, what it does is towards the end of high school, it gives you a placement in the career field that you're thinking of going into. And you actually get to go to the workspace and you work with them, and you help them in any capacity that they need help. So what happened for me was my co-op program, which was the first time any student had asked, was I said, I'm thinking about being an actor or going into the dramatic arts. And my drama teacher, my co-op teacher, I remember her response was, wow, I don't have anything right now, but my job is to find it. So give me a couple weeks and I will find you a placement. So I said, okay, no problem. So she came back to me a couple weeks later and she said, okay, I have the perfect job placement for you. And it's at a theater company. And what you're going to do is you're going to help them with their plays for the theater season. So they put on 3 plays a season and you're going to help them. You're going to be basically their intern and you're going to do what they ask. So I said, that's great. That's perfect. So from there, what I did was I would go to this co-op program at this theater company and I would help them put on plays from the rehearsal time all the way up to they have to perform in front of an audience and it was called the Toronto Performing Arts Center at the time. And that was the time where I got to see working professional actors come in, rehearse their characters, rehearse their scenes, see them put their rehearsal on stage all before the audience gets there, what it takes for them to warm up, to know their lines. I got to be in close proximity with them, pick their brains, ask them questions about the business. And that's when everything shifted for me. That was when the light went off and I said, this is what I want to do. This is the life I want to live. And I remember having a conversation with one of the actors, an older gentleman. And I said, I'm a young Black man. I'm trying to get into this profession. What do you think? And his exact response to me was, and I remember his name is Patrick McKenna. I'll never forget. And he said, you're a young, good-looking Black man. He said, I would go into the TV and film profession, go into the acting world in TV and film. He said, theater is great. And I respect theater and I love theater. But he said, I think you would have a better career if you went into film and television as an actor. And from there, that kind of lit a fire under me. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I started going home and doing all my research and looking of where the best places for me to go that was cheap and effective, because at the end of the day, I was being raised by a single mother and money could only go so far. So I looked for the best place I could go that was close to home. And I ended up going to a place called Humber College Film and Television Acting Program. And funny enough, it was only the second year that the program had just been introduced. So literally the year before was the first year they introduced the program. And I was the second group of students to go through that program. So it was a brand new program.
Wow. Man, that's interesting. So at that point, you I guess during that theater journey part of it, is there a difference between theater, TV, film?
That's a great question. So I think there is a massive difference, only because I've been able to do both. But I've done theater on a more smaller scale. The difference is just in, again, the art is the same, the foundation is the same, but the finished product is completely different. With theater, obviously, you're locked in from start to finish of the play for, let's say the play is 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever that play is, you're locked in from start to finish. There's no real break, so to speak, as opposed to in film and television, you're shooting one scene 10 different times from 10 different angles, and you have massive breaks in between each angle, each time you're shooting. So the difference with that is my intensity goes on and off. The switch goes on and off. As opposed to in theater, once you flip the switch on, there's no off until the curtain has closed.
Yeah.
Right? So that requires again, they both require a deep level of focus, but I think theater requires a deeper level of focus because you're required to stay locked in. And if you forget a line, remember, theater is live, so you've got to keep going. As opposed to film and television, if I forget a line, I can start again. We can cut. It's okay. Let's go again, right? So,
but how would you prepare yourself even prior to, though? Like you at your home, what would you do to ensure that you have it right? Would you like look at yourself in the mirror, just set up some drills.
Oh, that's
as you work on to hone your skills.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I love that. So I'll make a joke about this because this was part of my training process. Was obviously you have to learn your lines, right? And sometimes you don't have anyone else to learn your lines with, so you're doing it by yourself. You're speaking out loud, and there was times where in my mother's basement she would hear me yelling and screaming and saying these lines and da 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 da, and she would come down and she would kind of just open the door and look at me like, "Are you all right? Is everything okay with you?" And I would have to just kind of show her like the paper, like, "Mom, I'm just learning lines." Now, if I wasn't her child, she would think I was straight up crazy. Right? Because you don't know what's going on. You just hear someone screaming and all these things and lines and da 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 da. But again, she knew what was going on. But in the early stages, it was just like, what is happening? What are you doing? So yeah, it's the process of learning the lines. But as you get deeper in the business, you realize that there's a way to go about it, and you build your formula. And I tell everyone, acting is like, any profession. You have to go to school for it. You have to get training for it. If you want to be a plumber, you have to go to school. If you want to be, if you want to be a bus driver, you have to go get the training. Any job requires training. Acting is the same exact thing. You need a foundation. You need a training. You need to have the skills. Now, on top of that, there's talent, of course. There's an it factor. There's the natural ability. Just like some athletes have natural athletic ability, but then they have the skills on top of that to train it. Acting is the same thing.
Well said. But was there any time though during that period when you felt that probably that's not for me? Yes, of course I have the talent and all of that, or maybe it's too much, I never envisaged all of that. Was there any time that you were like, in terms of your mind, there was a conflict?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that didn't really happen till I got deeper into the business because, with anything, as you get deeper into it, you start understanding the politics of it, right? And you start understanding the things going on behind the scenes that are out of your control. So I think deeper when I got into the business after I, booked a few jobs, and then, because again, acting is contract work. So you're auditioning for a contract, and the contract might not be given to you. It might be given to another actor. And then after a while, you might go through a dry spell where you're not getting any contracts. And then you start questioning yourself, well, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not getting these contracts? I booked contracts before. Why am I not booking these jobs now? What's going on? So of course there's always that doubt because there's no certainty in show business, right? There's no certainty. I don't know how much money I'm going to make every month. I don't know what my schedule is going to be, next week. People can say, oh, I'm going on vacation next week. I can say, well, I don't know what I'm doing next week because I might have an audition. I might have a job, So there's that uncertainty of going about it. But at the same time, I walk by faith, and everything happens for a reason. And God will never put you in a position that you don't understand. Sometimes the answer might not be right in front of you, but if you believe in yourself and you believe in the skills and training that you've done, everything will work out. And I believe in that. So I believe everything happens for a reson.
Well said. Yes. It's one of the things you always say is that the universe unfolds as it should.
Absolutely.
Just definitely that's going to happen. Do you recall what was before you got into film and television? Do you recall what was a major role that you probably played in terms of theater?
Yeah, for theater, I did a beautiful, it wasn't a massive thing. It was a community theater. Community theater is more on the lower level of things, which is more local in your city. But there was a beautiful play I did called Whiskey Serenade. And it was about prohibition in the Bumpy Johnson era. And it was just beautiful. Yeah, beautifully written, really nice. I didn't have a big part. I was kind of the guest actor on that one. And it was just nice because I hadn't been back to theater since I did my co-op in high school. So when I did that play, Whiskey Serenade, it was years later after my co-op, and I had established myself more as an actor in the film and television world, and and it was kind of, I was at a good point in my career. So when I left to do the theater project, I was more doing it on the faith of I just wanted to challenge myself in a different space. So for that aspect, that play just kind of really brought me back to a grounded space of what acting was about, the rawness of it, the intimacy of working in such a closed space in a small venue and really interacting with the audience. And I think that play kind of, again, reinvigorated my passion for what acting was, because the arts is something in show business you fall in and out of love with. It's a wavy business, right? Some days are high, some days are low. But I've learned over the years, you kind of got to be even keel with it and don't get too high and don't get too low, because every project brings its own challenges. So I think that play, Whiskey Serenade, kind of brought me back and reinvigorated my fire in the theater world and with acting in general.
Wow.
But what kind of acting roles do you really enjoy, though? And what are your preferred, acting styles?
Oh, great question. I mean, I don't think I have a style. I mean, people can say from when they've watched me what my style is or what they kind of see me as. But for myself, I don't think I have a style. I think what I connect with material wise is the deep, emotional, dramatic stuff, because that's what we want to see as an audience member. You want to see the rawness of people. You want to see when they're at their lowest points. And then an actor to embody something like that, it's very difficult. But I believe, again, because of my upbringing and, the different emotional experiences I've been through, good and bad, I have a lot to pull from. And I believe that it's not about pretending the pain. It's about, how can you relate to the pain? Right? So if the scene is, I'm watching my spouse give birth and it's the first time I'm becoming a father, I know what that feeling is like because I have kids of my own. So I'm going to pull from that experience of my own mind and my own life, and I'm going to infuse that into what the character is going through. Now, it might not be the exact same, and then that's kind of where the acting comes in, of how you bridge that gap. But again, acting is life. Life is acting, right? Everything that happens in life is usually portrayed on screen somehow. If a couple is having an argument, that's real life. Couples have arguments. I don't need to pretend that. I know what that feels like. I'm going to pull from that. So I think that's what I connect to, or what my style would be, is that I love things that are painful and challenging as an actor. What's going to make me go to an emotional place that's scary? And I love that type of stuff.
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
I love this. Yes. We're here with Dwain Murphy.
I do have to say something, though. I'm actually on my way to set right now, so I don't have much time left.
That's okay. That's okay. So I know. So you're actually getting ready to go on set to do is it a TV series, or is it a movie? Is it what is it?
Yes. So actually, what's happening is it's a show called The Greatest, and it's based on Muhammad Ali's, Cassius Clay's early childhood years and his upbringing with his family. So we're getting ready to shoot that within the next few days, and today is a rehearsal day, so I'm on my way to rehearsal.
Oh man! But even before you leave, let me just ask you quickly, though. What is the biggest challenge you have faced in the industry?
Oh my goodness!
Is there something that you can think of at this time that?
Yeah.
Pose a challenge.
I think for me, at the end of the day, I try to tell people, like, yes, as much as I'm an actor, like, that's not who I am. That's just the job that I do. And I think the biggest pressure is you're getting into a business that's unpredictable, right? So everyone, most people, the average person knows, okay, I work from this time to this time at this location, and I make this much money every 2 weeks, right? I'm in a profession where none of that is guaranteed to me. I don't know what time I'm working. So sometimes, my spouse will be like, my wife will be like, oh, what time you start work tomorrow? I'm like, I actually don't know until they call me, because it's based on what time they finish that day. And then they have to calculate the hours going into the next day. So, schedule wise, it's tough. Financially wise, it's tough because you don't know, where your next dollar is coming from, what your next project is going to be. So scheduling a normal life is very hard. And then on top of that, being a consistently good actor that productions can rely on and trust, that's not easy, because I think acting is a forever learning profession. You don't stop learning as an actor. Like, for example, Denzel Washington still goes to acting classes. What could he possibly have more to learn? He's done everything from stage to film and television. But that's what I mean, is that you never stop learning as an actor because life is ever evolving. So I think that's the challenge of being in a profession that's unpredictable, and also being in a profession that you constantly have to keep learning how to even just be. You know what I mean? Like how to even just be a human being, how to perform, how to do that. And it's constantly evolving and changing.
So if you want to speak to the schools though, and you know the importance of theater at schools, what would you say? What would you tell them?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you so much for asking it, because I believe in giving back, especially when I was coming up. I didn't have many mentors around me. But if I had to say anything to the youth coming up that want to be in show business, in the dramatic arts, is make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because it's not about fame. It has nothing to do with fame. It's not about the money. It has nothing to do with that. It really has to do with the love of what you're doing. I believe acting is therapeutic. I believe you bear a certain piece of yourself every role that you do. And if you're not ready to go down that road and you're only trying to do it because, well, I want the dollars and cents, I want my name and lights, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And also, everything you do requires training. I said this earlier. If you really want to go down this road, then take the necessary steps you need to get the professional training that you want. If you want to be good, every person who wants to be good needs to be trained, needs to get the necessary skills. They need to put in the practice. You can't just show up and say, I want to be an actor. So that's what I would say to the youth.
And doing as you get ready, as you get ready to probably hit the set in a few, in terms of some of the TV roles and those who may probably want to follow Dwain and see what he's been doing. A little bit about that.
Yeah. Please check me out on Instagram. That's probably the main social media that I use. You can just type in my name, Dwain Murphy, Dwain Murphy. You'll see me pop up because I have a Dominican flag right on my screen handle. I always represent. And again, if you want to follow me, especially if you're Dominican, I automatically follow you right back. As long as I see you're Dominican, that you get a follow from me. I follow everyone, but especially my Dominican people. I love you very much. And I think we do need to stick together. And like I said, I want to eventually get to a place where I can bring that project I was talking about, showcasing Dominica and you know, some of the stories that I have from my family, and showcasing them and filming it in Dominica. That's very important to me. I want to bring that because it'll bring, you know, jobs, production, all these different things that I'm thinking about. So Dominica is always in my heart, everything that I do.
Excellent. And is there a current TV series that you're on right now that comes out weekly that we can look at?
Yes. The last most current one I did is called Cross. It's on Amazon Prime. It premiered back in November. If you haven't checked it out, you can go watch all the episodes. A beautiful show, a black driven show with black culture, and I'm just a small piece of it. I'm in a few of the episodes, but I think a lot of people will enjoy it. And it was, when it came out, I believe it was the #1 show on Amazon back when it first came out, and I still think we're in the top 10 right now.
There are many celebrities of Caribbean descent, Dwain. I'm sure you're happy to be, you know, in that fray.
Absolutely. I think what we're doing, you kind of have to always remember where you're from and showcase, you know, where you're from and your island, and speak about it as much as you can. So I try to do that. I always let people know, you know, I'm from Dominica, and I have to let them know, you know, not the Republic, the Commonwealth of Dominica. That's where I'm from.
Nice.
Always a good reminder.
Yes.
But I know you have to leave, Dwain, in terms of getting onto the set. Just generally, what happens when you get on the set? When people hear, oh, I have to go on the set, what does that mean?
Well, today we're just doing rehearsals, so we're just kind of going through you know, camera movements, how we're gonna, you know, shoot the scene and stuff like that. And then normally you don't always rehearse. It's just sometimes when the scenes are complex, they want to rehearse it for camera and stuff like that. So today we're just doing some rehearsals to kind of go over the scene and map it out of how they want to shoot it.
Wow.
Man.
So you have dreams about, you have dreams. I guess even when you're dreaming, it's like you're acting.
You know what? Sometimes I have to pinch myself when I'm on a set, because I'm like, man, am I really doing this? Like, is this how I'm really paying my bills? So I'm thankful and I'm blessed. And I believe everything in life happens for a reason. So, you know, God has brought me to this path of being an actor, and there's obviously a reason for it. And I don't think I've reached the end of my journey, or I've even scratched the surface of my journey. I think there's a lot more that I have to offer, not just within my profession, but also within my culture. And that's what I'm seeking is what this journey is about, and why I was chosen to do it.
In your quiet time, though, quiet period, do you go back to look at reruns of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Living Single and that era? Or, is it just different now because you have advanced so much?
I catch myself, like, if I'm flicking through the channels and I see an old episode, I catch myself stopping and watching and reminiscing of just what that episode made me feel at the time, if I can remember when I watched it.
Okay.
Yes. Listen, man, Dwain, all the best on your journey. I know you have to run into the set. All the best on the journey. I know you want to do this production in Dominica. Have you ever thought at any point in time to probably come do like a week or 2 weeks workshop kind of a thing in Dominica at some point?
I would love to. I don't know how much interest there is for the dramatic arts back home. I know that there is a bit of interest because my cousins tell me, but I have no problems with that. If that's something that wants to be discussed with anyone, please reach out to me, and I would love to.
Definitely. We're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna talk to the chief cultural officer and get some.
I love it.
Some workshop that.
Well, that's NIgel's thing, Dwain. I guess because NIgel has been very instrumental. In
yes. And
NIgel can be this.
I look forward to that conversation, NIgel. You know how to reach me anytime.
Definitely. All right,
thank you guys so much.
All the best today on the set and everything else, and continued success. Blessings.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, thanks for connecting with us.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, NIgel?
Yes.
You think we have Lalin to talk still?
We have to talk for the next 30 minutes. But yes, because
you think we have vibes, okay.
Yeah, man, we have a vibes.
Of course, man, of course.
Because what it was when we originally had him scheduled. I mean, he had the full time, but we had to do some reschedules here. And then when I spoke to him last night, he did mention that he got the call yesterday that they have to do rehearsals, which is supposed to be tomorrow, but they have to move it today for weather purposes and stuff like that. So,
that's interesting, though. That's interesting, eh? And when you think of it. His mom came from the Dominican grammar school.
Yes.
So I mean,
yes.
I just have to stick this there.
But
seriously. Seriously. And
but I think if I'm not mistaken, Al might have probably touched SMU. I must double check that and see. But his dad, I think, might have probably gone to SMU. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
You should have done your homework.
I have to stick in SMU there too. But yeah. I mean, when I reached out to Vanessa to make the connection and everything, I mean, it was because I've been kind of following him a little on what he's been doing, and when you do get a chance, go look at some of his stuff. I mean, he's an excellent actor, and he's worked with some of the top, TV, what we call TV stars and movie stars and stuff like that. He's worked with Danny Glover. He's worked with, a number of the current, what we call stars. So it's nice that we have somebody representing us from Dominican.
That's good. I did a little acting, NIgel. There's a little thing, at school, little skits and things like that.
Yeah. Yes.
And then my daughter was very much involved in this. In my first daughter, Amber, very much involved in theater. And I remember Steve Hyacinth always saw something in her, and Hugh get Andrew, and other people like that. Right. And she went to this this pizza thing in St. Lucia. She went to act there, and I went there as well. I did understand as well as a teacher on that set. So it was always my desire. It was always something of mine to go on stage and to act. Seriously, NIgel, I always had this in me. I was just too shy. Obviously, back in the day, I was just too shy. But I love this.
We shall make it happen. When Dwain comes down to do the summer workshop, we will make sure that happens. Hey, good morning to you, Vanessa. Appreciate you. Vanessa just reminding me and reminding everyone. Yes, she just reminded me I was a drama teacher at the Dominican Grammar School. That's
what? Ask Vanessa. You chatting. If I ask her what house she was in at the Dominican Grammar School, I can't remember.
I don't talk about too much grammar school today.
By the way, the BJ house is on top.
Yes, Vanessa, which house you were in again when you were.
Yes, what house she went to? Was it Dupini? I just can't remember.
You know what?
We're
gonna make something strange happen, right? Vanessa's gonna call us, and we're gonna ask her chit chat with us for a few, right?
It would have been nice to have Vanessa on as well.
Don't worry, you know, we'll make this. Give me 1 minute.
Of course, I'm giving you one.
Talk still. Give me 1 minute.
Okay,
let me get Vanessa to call us.
Yeah, of course, they can talk still, yes. But as I said, I just want to go back to what I mentioned as well earlier, because, you know, as we're talking about this theater, and just recently we had the Schools Arts Festival, and a lot of schools are involved in the arts, and that's very, 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 very good. Because I remember back in the day, you know, when theatrical productions, you know, that was on a high. And then, you know, the Arab House of Culture, that was the Mecca, that was the main place, you know, for activities like this. And people just flock to the Arab House of Culture, and tickets would be sold out and seats would be sold out, because they had to see, you know, Your Son, My Husband, you know, and the other plays that were put on by Bernard Frampton, by Nigel Francis, Alex Powell Bruno, you know, Alwyn Booley, and the others, you know, and of course lately I've had Gloria Augustus and a lot, you know, other people doing this. So I really wish we'd get back to those glory days,
yes,
and have more students writing exams at CXA level, you know, in the arts. And but of course, there's always Dominican as a breeding ground for this. In the Caribbean as well, you know, that's a breeding ground for arts. And we just need the right people to come together again and push this thing and ensure that we have a lot of this going on. I'm not saying we don't have, I'm not saying this, I'm not saying this. As I said, it's at the school level, it's in churches, it's in communities, but it would be so wonderful, you know, to have that rebirth, you know, of the arts, and where we can just go and, wow, just partake in this and just, you know, have a, you know, a nice time in a setting.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let me make sure she's going to call me. Hold on. Yes, you're talking still while talking to Vanessa.
Hey, Nigel, but you don't know what does there, man, Nigel. You're making something work.
We try and see.
Let's make this happen, man. Let me see your wolf, man. You went to SMA, but after all, man. They said you were the smartest man alive.
Well, smartest man alive. That's why we'll make it work.
I very much doubt that. I have my words for the acronym, but we'll leave that alone. we will leave that alone. But yeah, so we had a lot of people, Clement Barbara Richards, I remember Albert Patton Bellot, Harold Seeley, and this guy who died at Brown, who died sometime last year, the year before. You know, a lot of people were involved in the arts.
Oh yes.
And that was really, really, really big back in the day. And women too. A lot of women played a pivotal role, you know, in theater in Dominican. We really have to say hats off. I'm really happy to have listened to Dwain's story. When you consider a young man living, you know, a Caribbean island at the age of 4 to go to Canada that is so culturally diverse, and realizing in Canada that, of course, he had to be in the arts and doing so well on the international front. This speaks volumes for Dominican.
What's the number we want Vanessa to call us on? 305. Hey.
Oh, but that will not happen though.
No, because you're not in the studio.
I'm not in the studio.
Gonna have to call. Okay, so you know, hey, Vanessa, guess what? I'm gonna send you the Zoom. I'm gonna send you that Zoom link right now.
Yes, send Vanessa the Zoom link.
Hold on. But
because I'm not in the studio.
Because you're not in the studio.
I'm still on vacation, Nigel, by the way. I'm still on vacation.
Yes.
So I took 2 weeks again. So yeah, I'm still at home.
Let me hold on.
Let's see if we can get Vanessa Dupuy.
Yes. And hold on.
Talking about Vanessa Dupuy and all of that, let me also congratulate I'm trying to remember his name, Nigel. He just released a book. Oh my goodness. This Rasta guy. Oh, why did I? Okay, he's Williams. Albert Williams. Albert Williams, yes. Why did I forget?
My brother.
You know? Yes, and yeah, man. Albert and I go way back, very way back. And so let me just congratulate Albert on the release of his you know, his latest book. Good news for you, Albert. If Nigel makes this thing work today, Nigel, I give you a bottle of wine.
Okay.
From the other bottles.
From the other bottle I was there already.
I haven't collected as yet. Serious, Nigel, if you make this thing work. But yeah, had I known Nigel before that he would have, you know, put his stay short, I would have gone to the studio and would make things happen.
Yes.
We'd open up the lines. But it's all right.
If it was something that had happened earlier, figure it
out.
But
it's okay.
But we're gonna make that other part work.
And you're gonna make it work. Because right? So you send out the Zoom link?
I use a different phone. That's the problem, you know. So I have to go to the other phone to make the other phone. The other phone.
But Nigel perfect.
That's the problem.
But once I do that though, let me also remind people about the, as I said earlier, the reading competition.
Maybe my daughter
by DBS
hey,
Radio.
Alicia, come and help me
DBS Radio, Felix Anderson National Reading Competition. It is on, and we are going to various communities to ensure that we get a cadre of students that can read well. And even if some of them did not go through to the next round, we have to continue to ensure that we encourage them to read. We encourage them to read and read, not just read, but read to understand what you're reading. And also to understand that there are certain things that go with reading that make you a good reader. So pronunciation, and articulation and enunciation. So we look at all of this. What we do as well, we let them read a narrative, short story, very interesting story, and it's just good to listen to the stories, especially when one reader would start and then another reader would follow. So you get this story from this, and then they read a news item, and then they read a sports item as well, because we believe that, they will become well-rounded readers if they can also, apart from reading a narrative, they can also read a news item and a sports item. And so this year, as I said earlier, we have included Calypso, as part of the whole offering for the reading competition this year. And we are ensuring that as well. The Calypso Association, plays a major part in all of this. And at some of the competitions, you have a Calypsonian, singing a song, a Calypso. And that is so wonderful that, we saw this as fitting this year to include Calypso in the DBS Radio Felix Anderson National Reading Competition.
Nice.
Yes, Nigel, what's happening?
Yes, it's happening. We'll make it happen. Yes, it's going to make it happen. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work.
Yes, that would be so nice. It
would be nice to have her, especially as we just spoke to Dwain. Like I said, I was just trying for different numbers. So hopefully she sees that at the number and make it okay, not in slow because I give you the wrong number. That's why.
Hey, Nigel, you give the wrong number.
I said,
Nigel, what's happening?
I sent my number to you. Okay, let's see. To get her number, I have to go to this other thing. You see the story here. You put me in this morning. Okay, so I have to get. Oh, do I have this on this phone? Hey, boy, look over there. Everybody in our business, we must be talking. This is how we do the dots. Everybody here in our business as we're talking. And they must be saying those two leaders doing what they want,
Yes, sir, Papa.
So let me get this here. Okay, so I gotta get this now. Okay, Nigel, I just
you working a magic there?
Yes, she said, Nigel, I just send you the number. I just send you the number to call me. Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
Let's see if I remember this thing to sign in. Okay, so we get in there.
Hey, this is your producer, man.
But yes, you see, she says something.
Yes,
I send the wrong number.
Let's make this happen, Elise.
Yes. She says I send the wrong number.
Let's say hello to Snapper. Snapper is on. Snapper Laura. Let's say hello to him.
Yes.
Don't forget that's from Alvin Thomas. Don't forget Norrin Joseph, an icon in the field of drama and the arts. Oh yes, Norrin has acted as. I know we had Norrin already. Norrin Joseph, we had as a guest already.
Oh yes.
Sometimes you have to bring back some names because sometimes we don't really pay enough recognition to people who have contributed immensely. And I don't know if Norrin is one of them. I think no. In fact, I am big enough to know that. I'm old enough to know that. Norrin probably is one of them. I think Norrin should have, received more recognition for what she has done. Norrin, not only in the arts. Norrin was like the person who leads the parades and the carnival time, and she did a lot of that.
Oh yeah, Norrin served as the road manager for carnival for some time.
Oh yes, Norrin, she represented Dominican.
Okay, hold on. Let me talk.
Okay, all right.
Let me talk to Vanessa.
You want me to talk?
No talk. Hey, Vanessa, my dear, what's up?
I'm not on, man. I'm not sure. Hey, something I'm working on, Nigel.
All right, so listen, I'm gonna send you a Zoom link. So
Nigel talking like what? That's interesting, eh?
So that's very interesting. Okay, so hold on. Let me see if that can work. Talk. Let me hear.
Hi.
Ivona, you hear?
Okay, where you in her? Yeah, I'm hearing her.
So we'll try.
I'm not sure if it's...
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, what's up? Long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's nice to hear you. Wonderful things, of course, you have done and you continue to do, because I mean, listening to your son, you know, he's really a product as well of the Dominican Grammar School. He went to Dominican Grammar School, so I had to stick this in there. But yeah, wonderful things from your son. And let me just congratulate you as a mother as well, you know, for that level of discipline that you installed in him and encouragement as well. So hats off to you as well. Yes, we had him on as our main guest. But sometimes you have to look at the people who helped push, you know, people who continue to excel. So today, I also salute you, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, Vanessa, was there any point in time when you probably said, but what nonsense doing let me send him into something more important?
Like that, when they have a Dominican parent. When he first said he wanted to do acting, I said, boy, go become a doctor, a lawyer, or something to take care of me when I'm old. But then his drama teacher at school called me one day and she said, you need to come see what your son can do. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, no, you need to come. And I went to his high school and he did a one-man stand-up show. And it blew my mind.
Wow.
It blew my mind. And that was when I said, okay, he's invested in this, so now let me invest in him.
Was there a point in when you was very young and you was doing this that like just the tears just rolled down from your eyes when you're just looking at your son on stage or wherever?
Well, I was when started doing this, he used to stand in the window sometimes and shout out, there's a lemon under that rock. And I'd be like, what are you doing? You're going to have people send social services to my house. And he's like, he would just stand up and just say those things, like just throw out lines. And I'd be like, dude, are you mad? And he'd be like, Mom, I'm just saying things. I'm just doing things. So when I get up there, I'm like, okay, do your thing. But recently I went to see a short film that he's the producer on. And it was very emotional. And when I looked at him on the screen, it was so raw to me that I thought, because I mean, when we first came to Canada, our life was not easy. I mean, we came to Canada in 1989. So the two of us, it was mom and son against the world.
Yeah.
Once he decided as a young guy that, I mean, he was so into his acting that his school was literally about 3 hours away from us. And that boy would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, rain, summer, winter, take the train and go to school. Never missed a day until his teacher kicked him out of the class one day because he was so sick. So sick with the food, the teacher said to him, go home, get better, and come back.
Man. I guess that was the passion that he had that was the passion that he had to make sure it happened, man. And the fact that he had you there supporting him through it all, I mean, especially because it's a profession that's not something most parents want to support their kids in, you know?
Yes. I remember when he got his first role. I mean, it was the day before Christmas, I believe, when he got his first role for How She Moved. That day, when they kept bringing him back for a small part and a small part and a small part. Every time he would go back and audition, it would be for a small part. And then the night they called him and they said, we want to offer you the lead. And he called me down in the basement and we just went down on our knees and we started praying. And then after that, we started laughing. And then after that, we started celebrating. It was not something that we were expecting or he was expecting. But you know, God was on his side.
Oh yes. And when that happens, that good things always happen, man. Good things always happen for that. I mean, have you I know you're getting ready for some other activities, so I'm not going to keep you too long, but have you when you sit down and you look at him on television and pinch yourself and say, boy, is this really my son that's out there?
I'll be honest, very humble when it comes to that. He's doing on television or doing on the screen is not doing at home. He thinks his acting has gone to his head, so he acts normal.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, but like I said, I know you have to go to another activity. This was like a sudden thing, just catching you out of the blues like that. Yeah. So I mean, we appreciate you connecting. We'll probably have you. We can chat some more. Talk about the good old days as a big time sprinter at DGS. You know.
Oh yeah, those days. School days. Best time of my life.
I know. Definitely so. Definitely. What house were you again? What house were you in again? Dupini, right?
Wow.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't is Dupini you wait, not BG, you know?
Oh, Dupini. They tried to put me in BG, and then I said to them, my brother Keith Bruman, better known as Kobo, who went to grammar school. I'm like, nah, I have to go into Dupini. And then my uncle, Abednego Dupi, was in Dupini. So I brought up all of that towards his character, and I'm like, I'm going to Dupini. And he was like, Vanessa, you have to go in. I'm like, no. To continue the legacy. I'm going to do whole Dupini.
Right.
So that's right.
Anyway, Vanessa, I appreciate you connecting with us. We appreciate it still, man. And you and I will connect at some point and, make other things happen, all right?
And I just want to talk to Katie, Dwain's biggest fan in Dominica, Katie Julian. Big up Katie.
All right. Appreciate that. Take care, my dear.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. So that's what we do. We try to make sure we can connect no matter what, no matter where. Did I lose Ivona? I think I probably lost Ivona for a few, but I'm sure she'll be back in a little while. Ivona, did I lose you? Okay, so I lost Ivona. So it's me alone here connecting with you for the next couple of minutes until Ivona can rejoin us. This is a special kind of a program in a way because, our guest, unfortunately, Dwain Murphy, had to leave to go on set. It's one of those things of the acting world. And when you're involved in film, television, that happens a lot. And so that's what happened for our guest. But we're happy that we could have connected with his mom, Vanessa. Maybe if they can find his dad as well. You never know. We'll find her. But it was nice connecting with Vanessa and to share what it is as a parent, especially when you have your kids being involved in professions that is not the regular that we consider to be regular professions and jobs we want our kids to go into. When they go into a different avenue, the support has to remain. Oh, hey, Ivona back there.
Yeah, Nigel, I would have missed some.
You would have missed Vanessa.
And I'm going to ask, so she left already?
She just left, yes.
Oh, she just left. Okay, I wanted to ask her a question. I don't know, something just went wrong this morning, but that's all right.
That's okay.
We'll continue.
That's okay. We'll continue. They're setting traps, so we're not falling for it. That's cool.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was just mentioning to her the fact that, by the way, she was in Dupini, not in BG, okay?
Say it again?
She was in Dupini house, not BG.
Oh, yes, yeah. I said Dupini earlier on, I was.
Okay. Dupini, just wanted to confirm she was not in your house, BG. Yes.
Dupini, the green.
Yeah, but she was just mentioning the fact that, I mean, oftentimes you see, because I mean, like I said, if people go back and look at Dwain's body of work, he's done quite a bit and is, one of the famous actors out there, if you want to put it that way. But she was just mentioning that when he's home, you won't believe it's the same Dwain. He's just like just a son, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of being famous or he acting or he's a big talent or whatever. When he come home, he still have all the respect and still behaves the same way and everything is for her. Because I was asking her, how do you feel as a mom sitting down to watch your son on TV?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always, could you imagine you sitting to watch Chelsea on TV or doing something? Or any one of your daughters.
Yeah. As I said, Amber was very much involved in theater in the past. You trying to get somebody else again, Nigel?
Well, I was trying to reach Al, but we'll see if that works.
Okay.
Yes, the dad, the father.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, Nigel. But Nigel, you're not bad, man.
We'll see.
Big things happen, man.
Well, SMA, I remember went to SMA, so I mean.
So what she said though, when you asked,
I
think you said you asked her.
Yes, I was asking her, how do you feel as a parent? I mean, sitting down to look at your, at your son, that everybody else is looking at. And for her, it was in the beginning, it was kind of, I mean, I guess like any other mother would be like, is this really my son? Is really what happened? The emotional part of it, but you get used to it after a while. I don't know how you felt when you probably watched Amber when she wasn't performing. How did you feel?
Oh yeah, man, it was but we already cry, emotional, seriously emotional. Because but even before that though, NIgel, like even at preschool, your child is graduating and your child is on stage, doing something, that is emotional for a parent. Far less for someone like Vanessa, for her son to have reached that stage, in his acting career. It must have been in like a roller coaster for at times, an emotional high at times, but then she still has to keep herself composed because she has to be like his main cheerleader.
Right. Definitely so. Just now I was just trying to get Mario there to make sure I have the right number. So if it happens, we will definitely.
That's his dad.
That's his dad. Yes.
And he said his dad played basketball.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'll play. Yes. So if it happens, then we will have his dad. If he comes, we can get him in the next.
If it happens. But that's good, NIgel. That's very, very, very good. And then we have so many Caribbean celebrities, so many people involved in the arts in the Caribbean. So many people making it on the big stage. I mean, just recently we had Cassim Birmingham, and see how far he has reached.
Oh, yes.
And that just goes to say a lot about we, the Caribbean people. There's something in the DNA of Caribbean people. I mean, you just cannot,